That'd be awesome to see.
It would indeed, yes. Maybe, like, you know, we get our fingers crossed. Next time she plays Glastonbury, she'll team up with Metallica and do it. God, that'd be such a sick version, right?
That would be.
Imagine Dolly Parton, like, playing the fucking fiddle to a Metallica cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. God, that should exist. That'd be rad as fuck.
Get Dolly on the line.
Get her on the line. So, far away, Lucas, and lovely audience at home, what is your favourite cover of a song?
Ooh. Okay.
Do you need a moment to think?
I need a moment to think.
Okay, I'll do the intro and let me know after we're done. In popular media, the idea of besting the devil in a contest of skill to win something cool is pretty well established, and a hallmark of that trope is that the devil always wins.
You are not smarter than me! I'll see you in hell yet, Homer Simpson!
A fact that makes the song The Devil Went Down to Georgia kind of unique, in the sense that the devil in that song gets his shiny red ass handed to him by a bona fide fiddling genius.
Well, we're boned.
In regards to that song, not only does the protagonist not learn a lesson, they proceed to spend the next decade calling the devil a cloven-hooved bitch. Something we know because the song actually got a sequel, but we found out what happened next.
There's a sequel song?
Yes, there is, and that is like the thrust of today's video. But before we get to that, Lucas, do you have a favourite cover song?
Well, there's a lot of, like, obvious picks, but what I did was I went to, like, my YouTube music and went, what is the cover that's on my, like, constantly played thing? And it was the Black Sheep cover from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World by Brie Larson.
Sing along, everyone. Hello again, friend of a friend. I knew you win.
Okay, so that's your favourite cover, or at least the one you've listened to the most, according to YouTube. And as you mentioned, there are a couple of obvious picks that if we don't mention, people say, I can't believe you didn't mention. Like, there's the Gary Jules cover of Mad World, like that Tears for Fears. Like, well, it's just a better version of our song. There's the Johnny Cash version of Hurt, that Nine Inch Nails as frontman Trent Reznor's like, it's his song now. That's quite fitting because Johnny Cash sung the sequel to The Devil Went Down to Georgia, but we're not there yet. So how much do you remember about the song The Devil Went Down to Georgia?
So I don't actively listen to this song, I don't know it too well. The main thing I remember about it is that it kicked my ass when I played Guitar Hero 3.
Okay, we'll get to that in a moment because this is one of the most covered songs ever. And in the original version, the devil goes down to Georgia because he's running way behind on soul collecting, I guess. And while doing so, he encounters a young man called Johnny who is absolutely shredding the shit out of some fiddle. And if anyone's curious, is there a difference between a fiddle and a violin? No. They're the same instrument, the main difference being that a violin has strings and a fiddle has strangs. But they're the same basic instrument, it's just a different word for it. Like Karl.
Is there a difference between a string and a strang?
Well, strang's how like a southern person say it, right? It's like, you got those strangs.
Okay.
I can't do a southern accent, but yeah, it's like, you know, a car or an automobile. It's the same thing, it's just a different word for that thing.
I genuinely thought they were different instruments, similar to, you know, like, there's a lot of things like
a violin or a
unless
viola.
you're going to tell me...
Right? Is that what you thought?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I was thinking a cello and a double bass. I don't know whether they're the same thing or different.
Like, you thought they were similar instruments, but there must be something that differentiates them. But no, it's just a fiddle and a violin, the exact same thing. It's just a different word for that thing. And that's something I didn't know until I looked it up one day randomly years ago because I was curious. It's like, what is a fiddle? It's like, it's a violin. Why is it called a fiddle? Because it sounds funnier.
Well, then you can say he played me like a goddamn fiddle.
Yes, so, getting back to the song, the devil, spying an opportunity to do some deviling and exploit the young man's hubris, challenges him to a test of skill.
Best me in a fiddle contest, you win Backbender's soul, as well as a solid gold fiddle.
What happens if we lose?
You will only win a smaller silver fiddle. Also, I guess I'll kill one of you, him.
We'll do it.
And I will try to put in as many clips as I am able to from The Devil Went Down to Georgia and the many, many cover versions that exist. But more than likely, we're going to get copyright struck out of the arse.
Of course. Yeah.
Because YouTube doesn't like you playing music, and it certainly doesn't like you playing 10 different songs from 10 different artists. So what I will do is I will just edit this video normally, and I'll put in as much of the clips as is needed to demonstrate the point being made. And then if that version gets copyright struck, I'll make that an unlisted video, and I'll post it as a comment down below. It'll be the top comment if anyone wants to go see the full version with all the context of the song being provided. Otherwise, you're probably watching a bastardized cut-up version, for which I apologise. I want to make some money.
That's the thing, right? At some point, we have to just go, hey, this is meant to be a job. We're meant to earn some money out of it.
You're going to be like the devil, and I'm running way behind, man. YouTube's taking all that money.
And I don't, like, do you have any idea whether, like, the devil being good at fiddle is, like, a kind of canonical idea, or is that just, like, a trope that came out of this song?
Well, it's a popular thing in media because the violin has oft been considered to be the devil's instrument. For example, many years ago, we talked about Giuseppe Tartini, who wrote a song called The Devil's Trill. And short version of that fact theme video is that that is one of the few songs that can be directly credited to the devil. Because Tartini always maintained that song is a song they heard in a dream being played by the devil. And according to Tartini, the genesis of that song was they were in a dream where the devil appeared. And they handed the devil their violin and asked them to play something. And the devil proceeds to play the most intricate, beautiful solo they'd ever heard. And upon awaking, Tartini just tried to transcribe what they'd heard. And they always maintain that the version of the song that they wrote paled in comparison to the version played by the devil, even though the devil's trill is widely considered to be one of the most difficult pieces to play on the violin.
A baller way to market your own song, isn't it? This song is so good that the devil actually wrote it. Come listen.
Well, it was the devil's instrument, and you also had Niccolo Paganini, who was believed to have sold his soul to the devil in return for his prodigious talent at playing the violin. In reality, Paganini is believed to have had Marfan syndrome, which is characterised by having unusually long and flexible limbs and fingers, which allowed him to play just on the violin in a way that literally nobody else could.
Then, is there any reason why Jimi Hendrix was that good, or did he just actually sell his soul? We'll never know.
Jimi Hendrix just played the guitar every day. So this is another Fact Fiend article which hasn't been made to a video yet, where Jimi Hendrix's skill with a guitar is due to the fact he was basically raised holding a guitar. And there's a story told by people who knew him as a kid, where before he got a guitar, he would carry around a broom, which he fastened a string to, and would play like a guitar. And it got to the point where the teachers in his school went, we need to get him a guitar. Why? Because he literally can't function if he doesn't have a guitar. He wants one so bad he's making one out of a fucking broom and a string. Get him a fucking guitar. And he literally would walk around his house all day, every day, holding that guitar, playing it. And that's how he got so good.
I mean,
any others? Come on, test my knowledge, Lucas, of all these articles I've written about the devil music and violins and shit.
I mean, the only other one I can think of off the top of my head is just obviously a tribute, right? Of having a song so good to impress the devil.
Yes, which is no doubt a reference to The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Cause it's a very well-worn trope in media of the devil challenging a human to a test of skill to exploit their hubris, their pride, their boastfulness. And in almost every single one of those stories, the devil wins via trickery, devilry, because they're the fucking devil, the prince of lies. But in The Devil Went Down to Georgia, not only does Johnny win by absolutely just nailing the devil's ass to the wall with the sickest solo ever played on a fiddle, he stands there and brags about the fact, I am better than the devil. Which in any other story is when the devil will be like, haha, it's a trick. right? Like, it happens in The
Yeah,
Simpsons,
yeah.
right? Where Homer thinks he's tricked, like, Flanders' devil. Like, I'm smart, and the devil's like, you are not smarter than me. Eventually, you will pay for the price of your hubris. But in The Devil Went Down to Georgia, Johnny beats the devil, brags about it, and then the devil gives him the golden fiddle and fucks off. Right? And the song ends with Johnny saying, I'm the best there ever was. If you ever want to try again, devil, come on back again. Like, he leaves, he's like, you know what, devil? Fucking round 2, let's go.
Open invitation to fucking get your ass whooped again.
Yeah, it's like, if you want me to whoop your ass again, I'll do it. Encore, baby. Get fucked. Give me my golden fiddle. And I'm a big fan of the reading of the song. The devil doesn't know how to play the violin.
Right.
Because if you actually listen to the song, and again, I'll try and put as many clips as I can in, the devil doesn't actually play anything. It's his backing band that plays most of the song.
Then a band of demons joined in. It sounded something like this.
Well, we're boned.
There was a theory that the devil doesn't actually know how to play the violin and was hoping that his backing band could cover for him.
Oh, man.
Because he clearly doesn't know how to fucking play.
Well, not as well as Jimmy, was it?
Johnny.
Johnny,
Yes.
yeah.
And,
No, Johnny.
like, you know, as mentioned, the devil doesn't try and trick Johnny. He doesn't reveal that it was actually a ploy to exploit his pride, which is, like, you know, a big sin. He gives Johnny the golden violin and he walks off. He lets him live. He don't even get his backing band to beat him half to death with their instruments. He just fucks off and goes back. Goes back to hell.
And obviously the devil in most media does, as you say, have a plan up their sleeve and win.
Not in this song. In this song, the devil just loses, and Johnny keeps making fun of him. Like, he couldn't be more disrespectful if he pulled his dick out and slid it up and down the neck of that golden violin that he just got.
But I do like the idea that the devil's always, like, respectful of the deal.
And that is an interesting aspect sometimes covered in media portraying a deal with the devil, that the devil, as they often say, is in the details, and that the devil will try and trick you, but they can themselves be tricked, or you can exploit loopholes in the contracts that you sign. For example, the film Bedazzled.
What? Are you kidding? I have to give you my soul?
After you've had your wishes, of course.
But it's my soul. I can't give you my soul.
What are you, James Brown? What's the big deal? Have you ever seen your soul? Do you even know what it is?
Of course, it's the thing that
And eventually he gets out of the contract and saves his soul by making a non-selfish wish.
That last wish of yours was a deal breaker.
What?
Nobody ever reads the contract. Article 147, paragraph 9, subsection 3, selfless acts of redemption.
Huh?
Basically, it says, if you commit one truly benevolent act, it voids the contract.
So I gotta keep my soul?
Yes, you get to keep your soul.
And the devil just straight up admits, like, yeah, it's in the contract if you make a non-selfish wish, the contract gets torn up. But no one ever makes a non-selfish wish, because nobody offering to sell their soul usually does so for something for another person. They want material gain out of it themselves. And they honour the terms of the deal.
And Brendan Fraser has to learn to make that selfless wish in, you know, genuine selflessness. But that movie, the only thing in my head is like, man, they really did just want an excuse to make the devil hot.
Yeah. I'm not mad about it. You get Elizabeth Hurley wearing a fucking, like, red leather suit. I'm all on board with that. Like, that's my... You know what? I'd worship that Satan.
Yeah. Like, that was a defining movie of my childhood.
For a lot of men's childhood, it was, yes. And that is a common trend in media depicting a deal with the devil, where the devil will stick to the terms of the deal, but usually the terms of the deal aren't fully made clear to a person, and usually it's the person's fault for not reading them. Right? It's like, oh, well, here's the contract.
Yeah.
Do you want to sign it? Do you want to read all the terms and conditions? Well, why would I need to do that? Haha.
Yeah, it's normally a shady deal, but they will honour the deal.
Yes. It's just that you didn't fully understand the terms of the deal. But even then, in The Devil Went Down to Georgia, the fact that Johnny is just, like, stunting on the fucking devil and calling him a son of a bitch and saying, come on, I'll kick your ass again. Round 2, baby. Give me my golden fiddle, fuck you. You'd think at some point the devil like, well, I'm still the fucking devil, right? No, he just slinks off, goes back to hell, and seemingly just disappears until the release of a sequel 10 years later. But before we get to that, Lucas, you mentioned there is a version of The Devil Went Down to Georgia you're familiar with from Guitar Hero 3, yes?
Yeah, I think it was like one of the last songs in the career mode, like when it gets to the fuck you difficulty section.
Yep, and Charlie Daniels, who wrote The Devil Went Down to Georgia, hates that version of a song.
Oh.
And they wrote a lengthy blog post on their website after the release of Guitar Hero 3 of like, I don't like it because in that version, the devil can win. Okay. And the song's not about the devil. We wrote a song where Johnny beats the devil because he's so fucking good, he's built different. The idea of making a version of a song where the devil can potentially win goes against why we wrote it.
Right. I guess that's fair enough. Yeah.
It is, but I kind of like the version in Guitar Hero 3. It's Steve Ouimette who did it, because it plays more like a duel, where the song is like the devil goes first, gets his backing band, plays his song, and then Johnny plays his song. Whereas in the Guitar Hero version, it's you and the devil playing simultaneously. And you have, like, dueling solos during each section. And I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, that's an interesting aspect, because that's because of the way that Guitar Hero's multiplayer works, which it's a weird way to have changed kind of like the meaning of the song almost.
But
like,
it does feel more like a
interesting.
duel for your soul, right?
Yeah, it's just it's very strange how the multiplayer component of a Guitar Hero game having to sit by like the aspect of your dueling against one another changes the actual kind of meaning behind a song.
Yes, and if like the version in Guitar Hero played out like it does in the original song, you'd have spent the first 3 minutes sat doing nothing.
I do find it very funny when it gets to a point where, like, you know me, I've got like Rock Band 4 with like over 500 songs on it and stuff, and occasionally, just because they've released thousands upon thousands of songs for that game, you do just get songs where it's like, fuck you, this has no part for the guitar or the drums or something, or you sat there for 2 minutes just twiddling your thumbs.
There's nothing to do, right? It's like, oh, we're going to like put a full band together. What song we're going to play? Tequila. Oh. Right?
There's like some in there where it's basically just a fucking karaoke song at that point, because there's just basically no instrumentation. It's like, I get it. Again, they had to release a lot of songs at some point. You're going to get to that.
And as mentioned, I do like the song as it appears in Guitar Hero 3, because it plays out like, you know, a back and forth duel, akin to like, you know, the banjo duel from like the film Deliverance, which Steve Ouimette, who did the Guitar Hero 3 version of The Devil Went Down to Georgia, also did a recording of.
Oh, right, okay, cool. And I do think it speaks to kind of like our mentalities and gaming and playstyles, where you always prefer the multiplayer style of Guitar Hero, where just you're dueling, and I'm like, no, I want to play Rock Band and collaborate and come together, cooperate.
Like, for you want to be in a band. For me, I want to imagine and pretend that I'm in that one part Through the Fire and Flames, where it's the two guitarists that opposite each other, trying to shred the hardest.
Yeah, and it's just very funny, because it just I think it shows kind of our mentalities off very well in a very simple way.
And like in that vein, Luke, you got a favourite song from like the Guitar Hero franchise? Because like, you know, Through the Fire and Flames, that is like just what a fucking song to end on. Like, you played during the credits of Guitar Hero 3, right? And you're like, fuck, you get knackered playing it.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of like a lot of the Chili Peppers stuff, because I think like there's nary a part where everyone's like, sorry. I think for me, like, a lot of the Chili Pepper songs are really good examples of how to do it for like a Rock Band game, where every single person in that band normally has an interesting part to play.
Yeah, you don't have like this one person just like rocking out and being like the star of the show, which is why I like Guitar Hero, because Guitar Hero, guitar's the focus. So every song in that game has like a sick guitar solo in it for the most part, and they're the parts of a song that are usually the most fun to play.
Yeah, but I appreciate in Rock Band having songs where, like, hey, the bassist isn't just going to stand there and go do.
When they added bass to Guitar Hero, I'm like, the fuck are you doing? Anyway, getting back to The Devil Went Down to Georgia, like 10 years after the song was released, a musician called Mark O'Connor recorded a sequel.
In 10 long years since the devil laid his fiddle at Johnny's feet, and it burned inside his mind the way he suffered that defeat.
The devil actually takes Johnny up on his offer to challenge him again, and he returns to Georgia intent on getting both his golden fiddle and Johnny's soul. And everyone's thinking, well, is it official? Charlie Daniels signed off on it and actually plays the part of the devil in the song.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he plays the fiddle part for the devil. So it's about as official as you're going to get as a sequel. It's weird,
really
right,
cool
to think of a
idea
sequel to a song? Isn't that a strange concept?
Yeah, it is. And I like a lot of bands that will, like, kind of make continuity within, like, music videos and stuff and have, like, a story to tell via that means. I think of, like, MCR do it quite well in one of their albums, but, like, the idea of doing it in, like, the actual story of the lyrics within the song is so cool.
And I think it's really interesting because I can't think of a single example besides this one of a song having a sequel. And specifically having a sequel written and released by another musician that the original musician signed off on. That feels like so unique. And if there are any other examples of it out there, like, let us know in the comments. But for me, the only time I can think of this happening is with this song. And in The Devil Went Back to Georgia, you might be expecting, okay, so did Johnny learn his lesson? Like, was he an old man who, after his years of boasting that he bested the devil, become prideful and arrogant to the point where the devil is able to finally claim his soul? And it's like, no.
Does he just style on him again?
We think, well, does he get lazy? Which, yeah, he does. He admits in the song, well, I've not played since I beat you 10 years ago. I didn't need to, because I beat the devil. Who the fuck else is going to challenge me? I've got a son now. And then you think, well, so does the devil take advantage of that? No.
Truth is, I hadn't played much since the baby came in June. But give me half a minute and I'll get this fiddle back in tune.
Johnny says, I'll take you up on your offer. I've not played in 10 years. Just give me a moment to warm up. And agrees to fight, like, verse the devil again.
He's like, yeah, my skill's not quite what it used to be, but I'll still kick your ass.
Yep, and in another display of unusual fairness, the devil does give Johnny the opportunity to warm up. And he proceeds to warm up by playing the solo from the previous song. So his warm-up is playing the previous solo. It's like, oh, you know this gonna be good. Thinking
in my head is like, oh, is the devil gonna pull, like, a Jake Paul and wait till he's, like, 60 and retired to have a fight with him?
We're gonna get there, Lucas, right? So, the devil, admittedly in this version, does play a better solo. And it's Charlie Daniels who plays the devil. And the devil puts up a much better fight in this version. But Johnny, his warm-up is better than the devil's performance. And then his actual performance is just like a minute solid of just like fucking fiddling goodness. Absolutely just annihilates the devil. And the best bit is, the music video for the song shows Johnny, played by O'Connor, chasing the devil on a skateboard back to hell, playing the fiddle. And sadly, there is no third song where we get to see the aftermath of that. And Charlie Daniels is dead, so we'll probably never get one. But there are, like, fans who've written or proposed a potential third version. And the theoretical third version I think I'd most like to see is the one where people want to see what happens when Johnny goes to heaven. And he goes to heaven and, like, he gets all the way there. And it's like, well, you've still got that golden fiddle, right? You can't come into heaven because you clearly embody the sin of pride. So Johnny has to go back to the devil to challenge him again to prove to God that he's just that good. He's just that fucking... Like, okay, you might be good, but you can't walk around saying, I'm the best person in the world at playing the fiddle. That you're too proud and boastful. It's like, and Johnny's got to go to hell. I'm like, no, I'm just that good.
Johnny's like, you know what? Get the fucking devil on the phone right now.
But as I said, that's a theoretical sequel to the sequel that has never materialised and likely never will. But I'd be interested to, like, hear that version.
Yeah, it's just obviously a shame that, like, the original creator wouldn't be able to kind of sign off or take part in it.
Whereas like they did sign off on the sequel, which I just find interesting that the devil came back and Johnny beat him again.
So I'm not sure whether I've heard the OG version or just the covers. And are both songs actually played on a fiddle or are they on guitar?
They're played on a fiddle, but a lot of covers of the song tend to play on guitar. So I guess we can talk briefly about some of the cover versions. So the version that I feel the most affinity for is a version by the punk band The Toy Dolls, and they changed the lyrics to "The Devil Went Down to Scunthorpe."
The devil went down to Scunthorpe, looking for a soul to steal. He never minded way behind, he was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man picking on a guitar, playing hot, and the devil jumped on a hickory stump and said, "I'll tell you what."
And that's where I was born. So I guess I kind of have to like it. And they changed the lyrics to be a golden guitar rather than a golden fiddle. The same is true of the Nickelback version, which actually isn't that bad, because the guitarist of Nickelback is actually pretty good at playing the guitar, and they also changed it to be a golden guitar.
Well, I guess you didn't know it, but I'm a guitar player too. And if you care to take this dare, I'll make a bet with you.
That's the thing, right? Is Nickelback are a legitimately decent band.
That version is pretty decent. A version I don't like, but I was surprised to learn it existed when I was just looking for, okay, who's covered this song? Korn did a cover of it once.
Korn powers Vitalize! Monkey, David, Fieldy, and Jonathan. Form of Korn!
There's a new metal version of it, and it's like, oh god, no, that's lame.
Not Korn.
Not Korn, no. So that version I don't rate that highly, and obviously a bunch of country singers and country bands have covered it, but I'm not too into my country music, so none of those stick out to me.
The one that, when you say country, the first person I of course think of is Dolly Parton. Has she ever done one?
I did look. Dolly Parton's never done a version of it, and I think she should, because I would love to see Dolly Parton dressed in a devil outfit, particularly the devil outfit from Bedazzled.
Yeah.
And also, Dolly Parton can play the fiddle.
Oh, really?
She can play the fiddle, yeah. And I think it was when she played at Glastonbury. It's one of my favourite musical moments. I was talking about this with a friend a couple of months ago, what's your favourite live music performance? And I singled out when Dolly Parton played, I think it was Glastonbury, but it's the same festival she was at where she was headlining after Metallica. And everyone was like, well, the crowd's going to eat her alive, right? The people going to watch Metallica aren't going to sit there and watch Dolly Parton afterwards, surely. And she had the crowd eating out of the palm of her hand. And there's a great moment during her set where she says, you know what, I could play a fiddle. I've got to play a special fiddle. And she pulls one out and it's half size because she's only 5 foot tall and it's covered in rhinestones. And she just plays the fiddle and says, I tell you what, folks, do you want to see me play it backwards? And she plays the song backwards while moonwalking in high heels. It's like, fuck yeah, Dolly Parton!
That's the thing. Dolly Parton's a better live performer than Metallica are.
Yeah. And I think Metallica were asked to so how do you feel about opening for Dolly Parton? We love it. We all worship at the altar of Dolly.
Yeah.
She's a fucking institution. Anyone out there says they don't like Dolly Parton is lying.
That's the thing. It is definitely getting to a point where you can see that she's aging, in terms of just her presence on stage, but you have to worship at the altar.
You do. We've got to worship at the altar of Dolly, and sadly, to my knowledge, she's never done a cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia, even though she probably could do a pretty good cover of it.
That'd be awesome to see.
It would indeed, yes. Maybe, we get our fingers crossed. Next time she plays Glastonbury, she'll team up with Metallica and do it. God, that'd be such a sick version, right?
That would be.
Imagine Dolly Parton playing the fucking fiddle to a Metallica cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. God, that should exist. That'd be rad as fuck.
Get Dolly on the line.
Get her on the line. Either way, cheers for watching, everybody. We'll see you all next time.